Welcome to Jason's Jewels. I'm your host, Jason Alexander. And today we got my boy, my guy, Nephew Q,
What's up?
aka Quentin Walker, aka Q, aka founder of Beyond the Game group that you will find on Facebook, and you will find us up in there every day arguing about something. But
Some
Q, what's up, man?
foolishness.
Yeah,
Oh
what's up?
man,
Q? How you living, man?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. But like you said, if you take a for the people who aren't in Beyond the Game group, if you're interested in joining, please join. Every day you will see some foolishness in there. Every day you will see some stuff that make you scratch your head, like, what is he talking about? Like every day in there is a new adventure where you see somebody or somebody's posting that will make you say, what are you talking about? Every day.
Yes, and it never stops. It is
Never
always
stop.
on, and the NFL season is getting ready to kick off, so it's just gonna multiply. It's gonna multiply by 10. There's gonna
Go
be posts on there
intensify.
every day. So if you love sports, love talking sports, come on into Beyond the Game group that you will find on Facebook that Nephew Q here has founded and started, and just gonna kick things off, man. We're gonna jump right into it. The NFL season is up on us this year. And of course, this whole episode, we are talking NFL. We're going to talk divisions. We're going to talk Super Bowl. We're going to talk MVPs. We're going to talk all that stuff. And we're going to cram it into one episode for all y'all. So make sure y'all are tuning in, locked in as we get ready to jump this off. So, Q,
Mm-hmm.
NFL season getting ready to start off. Brand new slate, all new. What are some of the expectations or things you expect to see or want to see from the NFL this season? What do you want to see? What do you want to see happen this season?
Uh, More than anything, and I hate that we are like this as a sports society and a culture, but it just is what it is. We root for somebody to get to the top. We root for somebody to maintain a level of excellence. Then we get to a point where we're like, all right, that's enough. All right, we want to see somebody else. So now I think the NFL community is at a point now where we're like, okay, we've seen the Chiefs dominate. Who can knock them off now? Who can knock them off? Now that's what I'm most interested in looking for this season. I mean, you got Travis Kelce. He's a little bit older. He's not the weapon that he once was for Patrick Mahomes. So now it's like, okay, who is going to be that number 2 guy to step up for Patrick Mahomes in the clutch, because teams are now going to take away Travis Kelce because he's limited in what he can do now. So it's like, okay, who are you going to go? Rashad Rice, which he's suspended for the first 6 games of the season, right?
Yeah,
So, all
yeah,
right, we take him off the board. All right,
right.
so is it going to be Xavier Worthy? Okay, well, let's see if he's a true number 1 at this point in time. So I'm really interested to see what teams do to game plan against the Chiefs offensively to try to take away Kelce and now Xavier Worthy. And as far as expectations, we already know we're going to have the usual suspects, Lions, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Eagles, upper echelon.
Right.
For me, I said it and I thought about this. I said, okay, who is right there at the cusp, and we're waiting to see if they can make that step. And I do believe this is the year that we put the Chargers and Justin Herbert in that conversation. And I feel like Justin Herbert,
Okay.
um, he's got real good rapport with Jim Harbaugh now, and I feel like they got a good system in place now. This is year 2 in that system, so he's real familiar with that system now. So it's like, okay, we got you a great coach. We just drafted you a high level running back in the offseason. They also got Najee Harris to back him up now. They got a pretty decent, above average wide receiving corps. So, we're going to see, all right, Justin Herbert, are you that guy right now? So, as far as this season, expectation wise, we're going to have our upper echelon of teams that I just named, but I have the Chargers making that jump. But Mr. Alexander, I got some dark horses too, real quick, man.
I got you. I'm right there with you.
Okay, so
And for the record, I like what you got to say about the Chargers, because honestly, I feel the same way about the Broncos. But at the same time, I can't sleep on the Chargers because, like you said, Justin Herbert, man, he's been right there on the cusp. It's just a
mhm.
matter of time for him to bust on through there and show that he's as good as we think he can be, or as good as he is. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely like that. They weren't on my radar, but they definitely are now. So I'll
Because
allow you to continue.
so you look at it like this: Pat Mahomes ain't going nowhere, right? Josh
No.
Allen don't plan on going nowhere. Lamar Jackson still got some great years left in him.
Mm-hmm.
So from here on out, you're gonna have to go through 1, 2, or maybe possibly 3 of those guys. So
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, it's that time for us to see, okay, can you at least we're not expecting you to beat 2 of the 3, but can you get 1 this year in the playoffs? Can we see you get 1 of them? All right, now we got something to build on after that. Now for my dark horses, one of them's not really a dark horse. They're kind of a team that we expected to progressed last year, but they kind of regressed a little bit, and that's the Houston
Okay.
Texans. We thought we were
Yeah.
going to see a little bit better from them last season. I feel like they kind of took a step back. I feel like
Uh-huh.
I don't want to say CJ Stroud regressed, but I think he just kind of like plateaued last year. I mean, he didn't show anything to see natural progression of okay, like we seen with Justin Herbert.
Right.
So for me, my dark horses are the Commanders, which was we just seen them in the NFC Championship game. Can Jaden Daniels,
Mhm.
can we see you do something again? Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, and I know this is gonna sound like a homer pick, but it's the Bucks. They are a dark horse team. They
They are.
offensively, they have a lot of great, players at skill positions. Where we lack, and I say we because I'm a Bucks fan, we
Right.
have trouble in the secondary. We have Antoine Winfield Jr. That's it. That's
Okay.
it. Levante David, he's 35, so he's on the end of his career. We got Vita Vea, but I think he's approaching 30, if not 30, so he's only gonna give you so much up front. So
Right.
defensively, we lack a lot there, but they are a dark horse to make a run to, like I don't expect them to get an NFC championship. Let's just be clear. But I
You do
do
expect you do expect them to win the division though, right?
Yes, I do expect them to win the division and maybe cause a ruckus by, maybe upsetting the Lions team or something like that in
Mhm.
the
Okay.
playoffs. So the Bucks, Texans, and the Commanders are who I have as my dark horses to not really make a Super Bowl run, but can make things really interesting in the NFL for teams.
I got you. I got you. I've always had love for the Bucks, especially back in the day when they used to draft all the guys from Florida State and Miami. They were always a lot of fun to watch. So I always kind of latched on to the Buccaneers and what they did. So I ain't mad at that pick at all. Somebody that I follow on Twitter actually predicted that it would be the Baltimore Ravens and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. And I was like, man, I would love to see that. That would be a lot of fun right there. Because
Mhm.
you have Lamar versus Baker Mayfield. If I'm not mistaken, they're in the same draft class,
In the
right?
same draft class, but I don't
Yeah.
want to see it because Lamar Jackson gonna tear our defense up. So I don't personally want to see that. I want a quarterback to I feel like if it was the Bills, I feel like okay, we got a better shot at Josh Allen because although he is a running quarterback, he runs out of necessity, not because he just wants to all the time. And yeah, they do some draws and some things like that at point in time, but that's not his game. Where
Mhm.
like Lamar Jackson, that's his game. So
Yeah.
nah, I'm not with that. No, buddy. Nah, I'm good on that. I'm good on
Hey,
that.
hey, it could happen though. Hey, it could happen. I think the NFC is wide open, and
Mhm,
I know the Eagles just came off. They're coming off the Super Bowl, and I know they dominated in that Super Bowl against the Chiefs and whatnot. But I still think the East is going to be wide open because I feel like the Eagles, as good as they are, they're a beatable good team that's in that upper echelon. Now,
mhm.
I think last year that they kind of, I hate to say they snuck under the radar, but I think we focused so much on the AFC and what they had going on in the AFC we really didn't take a hard look at Philadelphia until they beat Baltimore late in the year, and it was like, well, damn, they actually all right. You know what I'm saying? And all we talked about was the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Bills. But at the end of the day, we should have been talking about the Eagles a whole lot more. Now, again, I say all that to say I feel like they might have a little Super Bowl hangover this year. I think the NFC East is going to be a little bit tougher this year than what it was last year. And I say that because I think Dallas is going to be better, and I think the Giants are going to be a little bit better. So I think it's going to be a little bit tougher on the Eagles. At the same time, I still think the Eagles come out that division. I just don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year. So, what you
Wait a
got
minute,
any
coach.
thoughts on the Eagles and what you're thinking?
Let me hold on. Let me get a 20-second time out real quick.
All right, I got you.
Let me rewind the tape. Did my boy just say the Eagle? I mean, not the Eagles. The Giants are going to be better. Please,
I look
I've
look how
got to
bad
hear
they
this
were.
theory why you think the Giants are going to be better. I've got to hear this.
Well, number one, they got Malik Neighbors,
Okay,
and Malik Neighbors is cold. He's just
I give
cold.
you that. Yeah,
There ain't no way around that.
yeah.
Their defense ain't never been too bad. It ain't been great, but it ain't never been too bad.
They got
And
Dexter Lawrence, so I give you that.
so they can make some improvements there. Now, I'm mainly speaking on how bad they were last year because them
Okay,
dudes they were booty last year. You know what I'm
okay,
saying? So it ain't gonna be hard for them to be better than what they were. I think they'll be more competitive. I should say.
okay.
I don't necessarily think they'll have a better record or that their record will show how much better they are, but I do think they'll be more competitive. Instead of getting blown out 38-6, it might be 38-28 or something like that. You know what I'm
Okay, I
saying?
got you. Okay, I
Yeah.
get you. I see
Yeah.
where you're coming
And
from.
so and with Dallas, you know what I'm saying? All they got to do is be healthy. And I ain't saying they can win the division, but if they're healthy, they're a much different team. And you add George Pickens on there along with CeeDee Lamb, and you giving Dak two weapons like that to throw to, Dallas is going to be a problem if they can stay healthy. And one thing we know about Dallas, they never stay healthy. And at the same time, if they do stay healthy, is that a team that we can trust in the playoffs? I just don't think we can trust Dallas in the playoffs. Now, the Commanders, if Jaden Daniels, like you said, if Jaden Daniels could put together another year and avoid that sophomore slump that we saw CJ Stroud go through,
Mm-hmm.
Commanders are gonna be cold, man. They're
Yeah.
gonna be cold. They're just gonna keep getting better. And that's a team that even as a Baltimore fan, I wouldn't want to see the Redskins in the Super Bowl. Or my bad, the Commanders. Well, I say the Redskins. Hell, we all know they'll be called the Redskins here in another year or so. With
So
way the
probably
climate's
so.
going, they probably change back. But
Yeah, no,
but
I totally agree with the Commanders because, they gave Jaden Daniels some comfort when they, signed McLaurin to the
Lauren,
extension.
yeah,
A underrated signing for them is Bobby Wagner. Yeah, he's a little long in the tooth at this. He's like Levante David. They both long in the tooth, but he brings so much experience to that defense that is going to help them no matter what. I'm not saying they're going to be a top 5 defense or anything like that, but what I'm saying is his presence on the field would help them out defensively, and they have still have Marshawn Lattimore, the cornerback. So they're going to be okay. I agree. They're going to make some noise. The Commanders
yeah,
are really going to make some noise.
yeah. So for folks that don't know, for folks that ain't in the area and ain't too familiar with us, we're broadcasting live from Lexington, Kentucky, and I would be it would be foolish on my part if I didn't bring up the Cincinnati Bengals. So, what are your thoughts on the Bengals? They just re-signed Trey Henderson to a new contract, so they got their core locked in. Joe Burrow's locked in, Jamar Chase is locked in, T Higgins locked in, Trey Henderson is now locked in. Do you think the Bengals will be better this year on defense now that they got Trey Henderson locked in, or is it going to be more of the same? Because I'm not big on preseason, but one thing I noticed on the preseason is that their defense has not improved a lick. And granted, we see without Trey Henderson out there, but we got to keep in mind Trey Henderson's the same guy that we saw Lamar Jackson stiff arm, run away from, and then throw that touchdown to Isaiah Likely when they came back and beat the Cincinnati Bengals last year. So as good as Trey Henderson is, he ain't gonna stop Lamar Jackson. We know this. So, so to add to my question, what are your thoughts on the Bengals? Will they be better, and will they have an opportunity to win the division this year against in the AFC North?
Will they be better? Slightly. I'll give them slightly better, but you have to think. Okay, if I'm a Bengals fan, we just had a Triple Crown winner.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow, basically, if they had a better record, probably would have won the MVP.
Probably going away.
Runaway MVP with the numbers he had. You
Mm-hmm.
got T. Higgins. He was healthy for majority of the year, if not all of the year. You had Hendrickson, who led the league in sacks, and their defense was still trash. So you've had all of this success with your core players, and you still struggle. So at this
Mm-hmm.
point, it's like, well, did they add any significant upgrades? No, not really. Okay, did they add anybody in free agency that can make an impact? No, not really. Did they draft? They having trouble with the kid that they drafted. They can't get his contract right, so he don't even want to show up to the team.
Right.
So he could have been additional defense to help them out. You ain't got that. So if they were at their apex last year and
Okay.
missed the playoffs, what makes me think that at their apex again this year that it's going to be significantly better? Like you said, I don't put too much stock in the preseason. It's free agents and rookies trying to earn a job, so I don't really put too much stock into that. But like you said, in the offseason, one of the things that I found that was still alarming, Joe Burrow was still running for his life in the pocket. Okay, we did not upgrade the offensive line whatsoever. So that what are we doing with that? And my question is, and I don't understand this. They gave Joe Burrow his money, deserving. First and foremost, the players that they played deserve their money. Let's make that clear.
Right.
But my thing is, if you were going to pay all of these guys to begin with, why in the hell didn't you pay Joe Mixon, your running back, that could have really helped this team out? Why didn't you give him his money? You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? So now
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
took away one of our key pieces and said, "Nah, we ain't gonna pay him, but we'll pay these other guys and give them the money." Well, so what are we doing here, Bengals? Like, it's Bengals are a step above front office wise, just one step above the damn Browns. The Bengals do shit, and you're like, well, why'd they do that? The Browns do shit, and it's like, oh, well,
Mhm.
that's just the damn Browns.
You got a
So,
point there.
so as far as the Bengals, I don't really see them having that much success prior to last year. I mean, the same as last year, and I really don't see them competing for the AFC North. Now, will they be competitive because they're in the AFC North? They know their opponents, of course. Could they split with the Ravens? Absolutely. Could they split with the Steelers? Absolutely. It's a divisional opponent. You know them better than anybody else, so you know their tendencies. But do I have faith in them winning that division? Hell no. Hell no. Hell no.
Alright. Alright. Well, so you mentioned the Steelers. What are your thoughts on the Steelers now that they have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback? Do you think the Steelers are gonna be as good as they normally are? Or do you think they're gonna take a step back now that they got old man River at quarterback?
Steelers are a wild card, man, and it's because of the quarterback position. So you still have Watt out there. You have they brought in DK Metcalf on the offensive side to help shore that up. They still have um Hightower on the other side of Watt. So you still have your outside linebacker. Defensively, I'm not worried about the Steelers whatsoever. It's
Okay. Okay.
how many points per game are we putting up? Because Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career is a average to below average game manager. He's not going to win you any games at this point in time in his career. So it's
Mm-mm.
like, okay, so if he's our game manager, what weapons did we give him to help manage the damn game? And we only gave him DK Metcalf. Well, I'm sorry, that's not going to be enough in the AFC North, my guy.
Oh, we really ain't.
So for the Steelers, will they be competitive? Will they probably sneak into the playoffs with a 2 games or a game above 500 record? Probably so, but I don't really see them doing anything significant this
Gotcha.
season.
All right, all right, all right. So, moving on, one thing I wanted to touch on is this offseason, Jalen Hurts seemed to receive an incredible amount of disrespect. I call it disrespect because I feel like people are sleeping on Jalen Hurts and how good he is and what he means to the Philadelphia Eagles and their success. What are your thoughts on Jalen Hurts? Do you think he gets the respect that he deserves? Do you think he's disrespected? Do you think that he's underrated? I think he's underrated myself. I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback, but I think he's a top 10 quarterback. Uh, so where would you rank Jalen Hurts? And do you think he's underrated or overrated, or is he getting respected or disrespected?
Well, to say if he's disrespected, we first have to figure out what kind of quarterback is he, right? So if we're putting him on the tier of Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, then yes, he's being disrespected because he just won a Super Bowl.
All
But
right.
if we're but as a and I'm talking about specifically just as a quarterback, but as a quarterback, if we're putting his caliber to what he brings to the team on a level of a Dak Prescott, like just manage the game, just do you're 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 good as Dak Prescott, but we just need you to manage the game. We don't need you to win the game. We have AJ Brown, we got Devontae Smith, like we have Saquon Barkley. We don't require you to do too much, bruh. We don't need you to do too much. 20 to 25 attempts, give it to Barkley 17 to 19 times a game. Let's win this ball game with our defense as well. So it's like, okay, so in order to disrespect him, we first have to ask where do we have him at? So if we have him at the upper echelon, then yeah, he's been disrespected. But if we
Okay.
think he's just an elite game manager, then I think the criticism is right on par because now we're critiquing him from a game manager situational quarterback versus comparing him to a Pat Mahomes or Lamar Jackson and then saying, you win us this ball game, bro.
I got you. I got you. So, do you give any credence to how he played in the Super Bowl? Because Saquon Barkley, I think we can both agree that Saquon Barkley played a large part in leading that team to where they got.
Definitely.
So when they got to the Super Bowl, Saquon ended up with 57 yards rushing, while Jalen Hurts won the game with his arm. In
Yes.
a situation like that, where we watch Jalen Hurts elevate his game in the playoffs, does that elevate him more in your eyes, or do you think that's just him doing what's expected to be done on his part?
I think for Jalen Hurts, and this is the dichotomy of Jalen Hurts, right? Because in the 2 Super Bowls that we've seen him in, one of them, he outplayed Pat Mahomes in the first one. This
Mhm.
one, you can kind of say, it's kind of went either way. But like you said, they won with Jalen Hurts. So a lot of people are saying, why don't y'all just take the reins off of Jalen Hurts and let him be that guy? Like, trust him to win the ball game.
Mhm.
But when you don't let him perform or you don't put him in situations to where he can shine like that consistently, it's hard to rank Jalen Hurts, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't
Oh,
really
yeah.
know what kind of quarterback he is. But when the lights is the brightest, we seen what my dog can do. So
Yeah,
it's
he
it's
shows up.
almost like one of those things where the player's name escapes my mind, and I'm kind of in no way, shape, or form am I comparing this guy to Tim Tebow. So people who are watching, please do not think I'm comparing Jalen Hurts to Tim Tebow. But
Right.
according to reports, Tim Tebow was horrible in practice. But when it came time to the game, he shined. And I think
Okay.
that's what Jalen Hurts. During the regular season, he's decent. I think he, passed for maybe like 2,500 yards last year, like not a lot of yards for a quarterback.
Not a whole lot. Yeah, not a whole lot
But
at
when it
all.
came time to the playoffs, he's that motherfucking dude. So it's
Yeah,
like a
he was.
switch gets flipped in the playoffs and he turns into a whole nother guy. So I think for us as fans, we want to see that Jalen for 17, 18 weeks and not just 4 or 5 weeks in the offseason. I mean, in the playoffs.
I got you. I got you. That's fair. All right. And since we're on the topic of, well, since we were slightly on the topic of the Super Bowl, we mentioned them earlier, and I want to talk about the Chiefs because I'm of the belief that I think the Chiefs take a step back this year. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when I say they take a step back, I don't mean they're taking a step back for forever and the dynasty's gone or whatnot. As long as they have Patrick Mahomes, they're always going to have a chance to win the Super Bowl. But I do think they take a step back this year because I feel like everybody else is really catching up to them, especially in the AFC. Do you feel the same way about the Chiefs? Do you think the Chiefs are going to be the same team that we've always seen? Do you think they're going to be the best team in the NFL? Is this year that they take a step back and become human like everybody else?
Will they be the best team in NFL? No. Do they have probably the best quarterback in the NFL? Yes. But having the best, and as you know, having the best quarterback doesn't mean you have the best team. Like, two things can be true. You can have a great quarterback and they cannot be the best team. Now, as far as a step back, the Pat Mahomes, I wouldn't say he kind of had a step back last year, but we saw a different Pat Mahomes last year than we're accustomed to seeing last year. I won't say he took a step
I'd
back.
argue the last 2 years.
So as you can say, so we used to Pat Mahomes slanging and banging that thing everywhere, 30, 40
Mhm,
touchdowns, 3, 4
mhm.
interceptions, 45 plus 100 yards. Like, we used to that guy. But when you
Yeah,
get a guy that's 35 to 40, 3,500, 4,000 yards, 25 to 30, and it's like, well, I don't know. So I don't know if the Chiefs are taking a step back this year, or if this past year's version of the Chiefs is who we're going to see from here on out. And like you said, they'll be human. And a lot of this is going to fall on Xavier Worthy. Like, what type of receiver are you going to be? If he is a 1,300 yards, 13 touchdown receiver this year, you pencil the Chiefs into the AFC Championship game, baby. You pencil that here right now.
I
But
got
if
you.
he's 900 to 1,100 yards and 5 or 6 touchdowns, Chiefs is gonna be in trouble. Chiefs is
I
gonna
got
be
you.
in trouble
Right.
because they don't have a solid run game. Like we talked about it earlier, you don't have a number 2 for the first 6 weeks of the season. You don't have Travis Kelce. He got engagement plans that he's worried about right now. So I don't even know how focused he is in his in his
Right.
on his
Hey,
career.
to all the gamblers out there, take the Travis Kelce unders and run. Just take them blind. Don't even think about nothing else. That man is preoccupied.
Bruh's done. He's I think he's 35, 36 years old. So he's in the
Yeah.
twilight of his career.
Yeah.
He he's happily in a relationship right now. And as we all know, when you are in a relationship, good or bad, it can and it will affect your work. No matter as a man, no matter where you work at in America, you argue
Yeah.
with your wife the night before. Guess what you gonna do? You taking that to work the next day. You have a
Yeah.
great night with your wife the night before. Guess what you doing? You taking it to work with you the next day. So this people think, oh, it's no, that shit is true. That shit
Yeah.
is true. So,
Oh,
like you said, take the under on Travis Kelce all year long. Whatever it is, take the under. Take the
yeah. Yeah.
under.
And the other thing about Kelsey too that I think may or may not be getting mentioned by folks. He's he's on the like you said, he's 35, 36 years old. He is definitely on the back nine of his career. And when I say he's on the back nine, I mean he's got maybe one hole left. I mean, dude is
Yes.
nowhere near as good as he used to be. And a
Yes.
lot of that has to do with age. And he's not just in any relationship, he's in the relationship. I mean, they're gonna get talked about every single week. And if something like
Day.
you said, if something goes wrong, we're gonna know about it, and they're gonna be talking about it. And like you said, it's gonna affect his play. So
Mhm.
if I'm him, hey, look, if I'm him after I propose to billionaire Taylor Swift, man, I ain't playing football no more, man. I ain't playing. You know what I'm saying? He
I'm good.
this man got what 2, 3 rings. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? He's had a hell of a career. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Dog, you ain't got nothing left to prove, man. You got you a billionaire. You got you one of the baddest women on the planet. Go on and retire and call it a day. Because I think if anything, he's gonna hold the Chiefs back some this year. And I think that might end up being a problem as we're gonna see. As we're gonna find out anyway. We shall see. But he could
See.
surprise us. And maybe this does put a little spark in him. And maybe he does take it back, dial it back in a couple of years and show us that he's still as good as he always was. But I just don't see it because he's been trending downhill the last couple of years. And when you look at how Mahomes has been playing and how Kelsey's been playing, I can't help but think that those two things are intertwined.
That's a
And
good point.
and until Mahomes has his security blanket, I just don't see him being the same as he was. So that's part of the reason why I think the Chiefs take a step back. I think their defense is still going to be cold because
Yes.
as far as I know, they haven't lost much on defense, and they still got Andy Reid. So it's probably a little premature on my part to dance on their grave. But I don't know. It's just the vibes I'm getting this year.
Okay,
I
hold on.
don't.
I got a question for you.
All right.
Over and under for the Chiefs, 11 wins.
Ooh, I'd take the under.
Okay.
I I'll take the under on that because I really think Denver's gonna be really good this year. I think Denver's gonna be a whole lot better. And you brought up the Chargers, man. The AFC West is not gonna be. And we talking about the AFC West. We ain't even mentioned the Raiders. I mean, they got Geno Smith, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like the Raiders are gonna challenge for the division or anything like that. But one thing we know, the Raiders have always been competitive,
Will
and
be
they got
competitive.
Tom
Yep.
Brady in the front office, so they ain't gonna be no bitches when they get out there. Tom ain't having that shit. So
And on top of that, they brought in Pete Carroll, so he's not
yeah,
going for that shit either. So you know what I'm
no,
saying? So they're going to be competitive in the AFC West. Now, like you said, will they do anything significantly? No, but you can bet they're going to compete in every single game that they in now.
yeah, shoot yeah. So, all right. So we broke down a couple of divisions already. Let's see. Who have we not talked about? We talked about the North, the AFC East. All right. AFC East. The Buffalo Bills have the easiest schedule in the NFL this year, and this is a statistical fact. I'm not just saying this because I'm looking at who's in the East and saying they got 6 easy games. They do got 6 easy games, but they also have the easiest schedule. After they play the Ravens in week 1, I don't think they play anybody for real for a while. Not for real for real. And I saw a stat that said the Bills are they're the favorites in every single game that they play so far this year. Now I know that can change on a week-to-week basis, but to have your whole schedule out and to be labeled the favorite in every single regular season game tells me that the Bills ought to be like 15-2, 14-3. Am I wrong? I mean, you got Josh Allen, MVP, reigning MVP, and you just re-signed James Cook. Your defense ain't going nowhere. You still got the continuity with your coaches. Are the Bills going to the AFC Championship game? Are they going back? Are they going to punch their ticket to the Super Bowl this year? Or is this just going to be another wasted year? I shouldn't say wasted. It's just going to be another year where the Bills look good in the regular season and then they get to the playoffs and they lose to the Chiefs.
You know what, man? The more we talk on this episode, the more I keep thinking about the Chiefs. And I think this will probably be the first year that I think, and I know people who are watching right now, and I'm probably gonna have some, about what I'm saying, but this is the first year that I can really say I don't think the Chiefs have the firepower to contend with the Ravens or the Bills, and
I don't either.
especially in the postseason. Um, yeah, Pat Mahomes was great last year in the postseason, as I think he beat Pat Mahomes. I think he beat Josh Allen too in the postseason last year, but
Mm-hmm.
I really do think this is the year one of them gets Pat Mahomes in the playoffs. And I think this is the year we will see what we probably thought we were going to see last year, which was a Bills Ravens AFC championship.
Right.
So the more you keep talking, the more you selling me on, yeah, maybe the Chiefs might just take. But he's like Tom Brady, though. As soon as we count him out, they're going to win 13, 14 damn games, and we're going to be
Yeah,
like, we're going to go back to this episode, and we're going to say we thought the Chiefs was down and out, and they done won 13, 14 damn games. Travis Kelce done had 900 yards and, 12 touchdowns, and we're like, well, I
yeah,
guess we didn't know what the hell we was talking about here. But yeah, I think the Bills and the Ravens, I think we will see both of them playing against each other in the championship. And then that will probably be more exciting to watch than a Pat Mahomes versus Ravens or Pat Mahomes versus Bills. I think Ravens and Bills will be more exciting because people will be like, okay, one of them finally beat Pat. We don't know if they'll do it again. So they got to take advantage of this and get to the Super Bowl. So yeah, I see Ravens and Bills, man.
And the Bills definitely have they got a easy road to home field advantage.
Yes.
As long as they can stay healthy. If they stay healthy, I just don't see anybody else who's going to have a record that's going to be able to top what the Bills are potentially able to do with that schedule that they have.
That's a good point.
And that brings me to the Baltimore Ravens in the NFC in the AFC North. My favorite team, my dude, Lamar Jackson, president of the Lamars, Jason Alexander here. Hey, look, I know until Lamar Jackson retires, it's going to be hard for me to pick against Baltimore going to the Super Bowl. And that's just me being honest. Folks can call me a homer. You can call me whatever you want. I don't care. I think Lamar Jackson is the best talent in the NFL. And this year, they have put together a team that I think on paper should go, like you said, to the AFC Championship game against the Bills, who got that easy road to the AFC Championship game. So what are your thoughts on the Baltimore Ravens this year? Do you think they can get it done? Do you think it's a Super Bowl or bust for them this year?
Okay. For my dude Lamar. So let me ask you this. When you say Super Bowl or bust, do you mean just get there or win it?
Well, I say win it. I think if they get there, I think they win it.
Okay, so
I'm gonna say win it. But for the record, I don't think it's Super Bowl or bust for them this year. I think this is the best opportunity they've had to make the Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson as their quarterback. But I don't think it's Super Bowl or bust, and that's mainly because it's like Lamar said a couple of weeks ago. I'm only 28 years old. I'm just getting started. Their Super Bowl window is a good 5 to 7 years right now. Because at 28, we know he can play till he's 34. And one thing he's shown is that he doesn't need his legs to be a superstar quarterback in the league. So with all that combined, I think that Lamar's got a nice 5 to 7 year window. And same for Josh Allen and same for Joe Burrow. I think they all got that window right now. And I honestly think we're going to see a situation where they take turns winning Super Bowls because I think some years they're just going to be on it. And again, like I mentioned earlier, I operate on vibes. And I feel like the vibes are super high in Baltimore this year. But the thing with Baltimore is they got a tough schedule. And so I can see them losing 3-4 games, but I still think they win 11, 12 games easy. 11, 12, 13 games easy, make the playoffs. I still think they get a first round bye, but it's not going to be as easy for them as it is for Buffalo. And if anything, that's going to prepare them for the playoffs in my mind. But I guess that's something that we'll find out along the way.
So you mentioned windows and you said Lamar, Josh Allen.
Yes.
Only two of those quarterbacks, I believe, have a window, which is Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. But it's not for the reason that you're probably thinking. The reason why I say they have a window is because the Bills and the Ravens organization are going to continue to put pieces around these guys. Even as they lose pieces, they will continue to put pieces around these guys because they know franchise quarterbacks do not grow on trees around this joint.
No, they don't.
The Cincinnati Bengals are not going to continue to put pieces around Joe Burrow to make sure his window is open for as long as possible. Basically, the Bengals say, we'll give you T. Higgins and Joe Burrow. Figure it out.
Yeah. You're right. I can't argue that.
Which brings me back to the Baltimore Ravens. Do I think it's Super Bowl or bust? No, because like you mentioned, he's only 28, and I do believe the Ravens, they draft well. They sign great free agents. They sign significant free agents. They just gave Kyle Hamilton an extension I think it was either today or yesterday.
Yeah, that happened today.
They just gave him so they do the right things as an organization. On paper, you have everything. They got Marlon Humphrey and Jair Alexander on the corners. And then you got Kyle Hamilton in the back in the safety spot to sure that up. Okay, boom, you got that taken care of. You got the defensive lineman, and I mess up his name every time. It starts with an N. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it, but
I know you're talking about.
yeah, I can't even pronounce it. But
Yeah.
they have him up front,
Yep.
so and they have Roquan Smith as the linebacker. They check the boxes, secondary linebacker core in the trenches. Check, check, check. Got that taken
Mhm.
care of. All right, other side of the ball. Okay, we got Lamar Jackson, franchise quarterback, check. Derrick Henry, franchise running back, check. Mark
Mhm.
Andrews, franchise tight end, check. Okay, we got
Mhm.
Zay Flowers, who could be a potential number one, check. We got Bateman, he's a slot, maybe number two guy. Okay, check. Where is the weakness at with this team? You
Right.
have no weakness on paper. On paper,
Mhm.
you have no weakness with this team. So, do I believe it's Super Bowl or bust? No, but do I believe that this is his best probably shot to get to the Super Bowl? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this all shakes out, especially in week one, because week one we got Baltimore at Buffalo to kick things off on Sunday Night Football. So we're gonna jump right into it right off the bat.
Hey, listen, man. If Baltimore okay, it's one thing if Baltimore wins. Let's say they win 21-17. Okay, cool. But if they
Gotcha.
come out that joint and they win some shit like 35-14 or 30-7 or something like that, oh, NFL in trouble.
In trouble.
NFL in a heap of trouble, boy. If they come out there and assert themselves and blow out the Bills game one, and I know it's just game one, and people be like, "Oh, it's just one game." No, it's one game against a team that people have Super Bowl contending hopes with. Like if they blow
Mhm.
them out week one, what the hell you think they're gonna do to everybody else?
Yep.
So we gonna see week one. We gonna see a
Yeah.
lot in week one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we are. Now we go from the AFC North to probably the worst division in the AFC, and that's the AFC South, where you have the Colts, you got the Titans, you got the Jaguars, and you got the Texans. My bad. We got the Houston Texans. I can't forget the Texans. Now, me personally, I think the Texans are going to run away with it again,
Yes.
but I was curious if you had any thoughts on the AFC South, or if that's just one we should just go on and say, "Hey, Texans got it on the
Next.
north." All right.
Next.
So that'll wrap it up for the AFC, because we talked about the AFC West and the Chiefs and the Broncos and the Chargers. So NFC East we talked about. NFC North. All right. We got Packers, Bears, Vikings, Lions. Lions have won this division. Packers they've been pretty strong here lately with Jordan Love. Stronger than I expected. And I
Yeah.
gotta give them a shout out for that, because I never expected the Packers to be that
Same.
good once they got rid of Aaron Rodgers.
Same.
But Jordan Love has stepped in, and man, they've proven that they're gonna be a problem.
Yes.
You got the Packers, you got the Bears coming up. What's your thoughts on the Bears? You think the Bears are gonna be all right? And the Vikings as well, as they got JJ McCarthy taking over up there at quarterback. You think the Bears and Vikings got anything for the Lions? Or do you
Okay,
think
so
who you think's gonna win that division?
I think the Lions still win their division, but this division is going to be interesting for a couple of reasons. Well, actually, three good reasons. One, the Lions now have a new offensive coordinator, so we'll see what their offense looks like now.
That's
The
my main
Bears,
concern with them.
the Bears now have the Lions' previous offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, so now we'll see if the previous regime was the problem and if he can quote unquote fix Caleb Love and see what that looks like.
Right.
Okay,
Caleb Williams.
yeah.
The
So and then you
fingernail
have the Vikings.
fingernail.
They had a great season last year with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold came in, set the league on fire. Nobody expected the Vikings to be like that.
Mm-mm.
JJ McCarthy got injured, so Sam Darnold had to come in. He had a great season, faltered at the end of the season, playoffs as well. But now it's like, okay, we have a second year rookie at quarterback. What's that gonna look like? So if he doesn't lead them to at least the playoffs, a lot of Vikings fans is gonna be like, well, why did we let Sam Darnold go when we had who's this? So the
Mm-hmm.
NFC North is going to look a little different for a couple of different reasons, but at the end of the day, I do believe the Lions are the strongest team, even though the Packers have the most continuity within that whole division as far as coaching staff, core players, and everything like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like the Lions just have too much talent for the Packers. Now, could the Packers win the division? Sure. But I do think the Lions will take this division, though.
Okay. All right. All right. I think the Packers get it myself, but a lot of that has to do with what you mentioned earlier about the Lions having a new offensive coordinator. I need to, I don't know. I need to see the Lions first before I can really, I don't know, before I can really feel confident in them. Because I feel like the whole offense could change. That offense was unreal under Ben Johnson, and
Yeah.
whether or not the new guy
Hold
comes
on,
in.
not to cut you off, not to cut you off. This just popped in my head.
What's
They
up?
have a new OC and DC because Aaron Glenn is with the Jets now. So that
Oh yeah,
I just thought about that. So their offense and defensive schemes might change completely different, and this might look like a totally different team. I didn't mean to
really
cut you off,
good.
but that just popped in my head. Go
No,
ahead
you
though.
good. No, you good. You good. Because I forgot about it too. So that's another great point, and that helps me say, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Packers to win the division. I think the Packers actually get it done. And truthfully, the main problem with the Packers and the fact that they haven't been able to do a little bit more is that Jordan Love can't stay healthy in the regular season. If he
Yes.
can stay healthy in the regular season and allow them to build a record that's going to give them home field advantage in the playoffs, they'll probably be all right. Because we've seen what Jordan Love does in the playoffs, and that's win games. And I ain't gonna sit here and act like he's gone to an NFC Championship, but the times they've been in the playoffs, he's won games that we expected them to lose. So with that in mind, I think Jordan Love takes the next step up, and I think the Packers are going to win the NFC North this year. So
Would you be surprised if we saw a Packers Commanders NFC Championship game?
surprise, ooh, ooh. I hate to say no because it's not something that I would think of, but I would be surprised a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I definitely would be surprised. I can't. The Commanders wouldn't surprise me more than the Packers, but at the same time, I would probably still pick somebody like the Eagles, and I'm still heavy on the Bucks, just like you. Not because you on here. It's just I really feel like the Bucks are going to sneak up and surprise some folks. So, yeah, I guess I would be surprised if the Packers and Commanders met up, but it would be a good one. I can't front on that. It would be a good one. I'm a big Jaden Daniels guy, so
I am too, man. I am
I,
too.
I,
My
I'd
Bucks
like.
got him last year, but we got him early. We played him week 2, I think. Yeah, because we played the Lions, I think, week 1, and we played Jaden Daniels like week 2. He
Yeah,
did some damage against us, but we ultimately won the game. But we got him before he became Jaden Daniels, and I was so glad we got him before he became that guy.
right, right, right. Oh yeah, shoot, yeah, he is cold. So yeah, I'd be surprised, but hmm, it's interesting. Packers and Commanders. I'm gonna keep an eye out for that one.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see, that's North. On to you, the NFC South. Now we both talked about the Buccaneers. We both been on the Buccaneers, so I know we won't have to spend too much time on this one. But the man, just looking at the Saints, trash. Panthers, trash. And the Falcons,
Falcons, they scare me, and here's why. Not because of the talent, even though they got Robinson, they got Michael. We will see what the quarterback situation looks like. They got Drake London. We'll see if Kyle Pitts can ever turn into the tight end that we thought he was going to be the tight end coming out of Florida.
we're still waiting.
We still waiting. We thought he was just going to be. We thought he was going to revolutionize the tight end position, and Buddy has
Mhm.
been subpar so far. Defensively, they have AJ Terrell out there on the wing. They just drafted I forgot the linebacker. I think it was the linebacker from Penn State. I think that's who they drafted. I can't. I'm gonna
Oh,
fact check me
okay.
on that. And they still have what you call it in the secondary, Bates in the secondary. So the Falcons aren't a bad team, but they not a team that people are looking for. So maybe they can sneak up on a couple of people.
Hmm.
But at the same time, they're the only team in the NFC South that scares me because they actually have some talent on both sides of the damn ball. Where the Saints and the Panthers, they ain't got shit. I ain't worried about neither
Right,
one of them.
right, right. I'm right there with you. All right. All right, now on to the NFC West, last division. So we got the Rams, the Cardinals, the 49ers, and the Seahawks. Is this year, will the 49ers return to glory, or is this it for them? You know what I'm saying? Uh, I don't, I'm, I know the Seahawks lost Geno and they lost Pete Carroll and they're moving in a different direction. But if I'm not mistaken, they're the ones with Sam Darnold now, right? So we got Seahawks, we got the Rams. Everything I'm seeing out of the Rams camp is that Matthew Stafford's got back issues right now. So he might start off playing, but how healthy is that man? And I know he's an old fella, so there's only gonna be so many hits he can take before he's sitting on the sideline. So who you got coming out the NFC West out of those four? And do you think any of them will be able to make any noise in the grand scheme of things when we're looking at the NFL and the entire landscape of the NFL this year?
Okay, NFC West is also interesting because they gave Brock Purdy his money,
Mm-hmm.
but they paid him as if he was the guy who can win games. So it's like, okay, well, let's find out then. You still got C-Mac, but as everybody knows, can C-Mac stay healthy? Forget a full season. Can you stay healthy for like 15 to 14 games? Can you do that? And those 15 to 14, can it be like on the back end of the season? Not, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, make those games. Like, let's set up the first, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, the 49ers have like one of the easiest schedules in the NFL as well. I know you said the Bills have the easiest. I know the 49ers is right up there with them.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them games, I know this is gonna sound crazy. I wouldn't mind resting C-Mac, because as of right now, like, do we really need him against some of these teams? Mm. But and then okay, so and then they still have the wide
Isaac.
receiver
Oh, Juwan Jennings.
Juwan Jennings. And so it's
Breaking
like,
period
okay,
for
the wide receiver room, what does that look like? Like,
him. Mhm.
okay, we gave Purdy his money, but did we give him anybody for real? Did we give him something? Okay, all right. On the other side of the ball, we still got, Fred Warner. Probably some people say he's the best middle linebacker in the game. You got Roquan Smith. You can pick and choose. It's not a definite linebacker to where he's, above everybody else, but I don't know. And then, like you said, the Rams. Okay, Matthew Stafford injured back issues. Okay, but do we feel confident in our run game with Karen Williams? I don't know. Can he win? I
Mhm.
don't know about that. And then defensively, they have Jared Verse from Florida State. I think it's his second or third year, if I'm not mistaken. He's one of the premier outside linebackers coming into the game. But
Right.
what else do they have on defense? I wouldn't be surprised if we seen the Arizona Cardinals step
Mm.
up and take
Okay.
over that division
Okay.
this year.
Okay.
Um, Head coach Jonathan Glenn, if I'm not mistaken,
Okay.
I think this is his third year, and every year he's been there, they've progressed as far as wins.
Okay.
And I do see, and they got Marvin Harrison Jr. They got McBride, which is one of the young top tight ends in the game. They
Yeah,
got
he's tough.
Connors in the backfield, so they got a
Yeah.
nice little run game. They got the security blanket with the tight end. You got Marvin Harrison Jr. out there on the wing. Now the defense we'll see. Defense leaves with something to be desired. But if I had to put my money on something, I would say the 49ers win this. But I would not be surprised if we see the Cardinals overtake this division.
Okay. All right. Arizona Cardinals. All right. All right.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. I'll keep an eye out. I ain't got no beef with the Cardinals. I like Kyler Murray, even though most folks don't. I ain't got no beef with Kyler Murray. I enjoy watching him play. He looks funny out there, as short as he is.
Looks like a little kid out there.
Yeah, yeah, but I still like watching him play. Something about it. But we'll see. Arizona Cardinals. It's interesting. All right. So moving on. Now, since this is an NFL show, we got to talk about the Cleveland Browns and the quarterback situation they got going on up there.
Oh,
And what are your thoughts on Shedeur Sanders? Is he getting hosed? Are they setting him up to fail, or is he just as good as he's going to be and going to have to just show and prove and work his way up to a role in the NFL? What are your thoughts on Shedeur and the whole fiasco circus, whatever you want to call it, going on up in the Cleveland Browns area code?
hey, good people stick with me. Mr. Alexander, stick with me.
I got you.
I love a good conspiracy just as much as everybody else does, but to me, it's got to make sense. And to
Okay.
me, this one makes sense. I do believe. I don't know if I 1000% believe what Eric Dickerson came out and said recently about how somebody in NFL that's a reliable source told him that the NFL told teams not to draft Shador, and what the Browns said, we going to do what the Browns do and do it any damn way. We going to have 4 quarterbacks. What we think about that?
Yeah.
So, according to Eric Dickerson, the source within the NFL called the Browns and told them not to do it, and they did it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that for whatever reason, I don't know the reason why there's a conspiracy around drafting Shador. Like, teams, when the college football season kicked off last year, he was in the runnings for at least a top 5 pick. If not, it was him and Cam Ward. They were juggling who was the better quarterback, who's probably going to go number 1 between them two. Well,
Mm-hmm.
as the season progressed, Cam Ward maybe separated himself a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
NFL Combine, allegedly Cam Ward separated himself a little bit more. and he became the number 1 overall pick. I looked this up today, and going into the draft, because I said, what kind of grade does Shedeur have coming into the draft? Like, what did they grade him? And he had a second round grade going into the draft. Not good, not great, but okay, it's pretty good. Like second round, like there's a lot of good players that come out of the second round.
Oh yeah.
And so, okay, he had a second round grade. Okay, I'm cool with that. So then I'm thinking, okay, well, how did he go from a second round grade quarterback to now getting drafted in the 5th round, but not the 5th round, but to the Cleveland Browns at the same time, who just drafted Dalen Gilbert a couple rounds ago.
Mm-hmm.
You brought back Joe Flacco because you knew
Mhm.
Deshaun Watson was going to miss this season. So
Mhm.
now you potentially on paper have 4 quarterbacks, and you drafted 2 in the same damn draft. Like what? Who does that? Like the only other time I remember that shit happening was with the Commanders when they took RG3, then in the second round took Kirk Cousins, and people were like, why did they do that? But it made sense because Kirk Cousins was more of a Shanahan guy, and RG3 was an owner's pick. So we got that. We got an explanation as to why that happened.
Right.
This makes no rhyme or reason whatsoever. So, okay, all right, cool. Well, let's see what he got in the preseason. He starts the preseason game. He has a good rookie preseason game to where people are
Mhm.
like, see, told you he could perform well. And you know what the Browns did? Damn all that. You know what we gonna do? We gonna put him in at the last game with a bunch of backups and see how well he does then. Let's see how much y'all like Shedeur now.
Right.
Put him in. And I seen this the other day. Every player that he played with
Mhm.
is now cut.
Yep.
So then how can I show y'all what I can do if y'all got me out here with guys y'all know not even gonna make the squad? And on top of that, y'all pull me so I can't show y'all what I could potentially do in a 2-minute drill, put in another quarterback, and then y'all cut his ass too. So then why did y'all put him out there to begin with? If y'all knew where y'all gonna cut him, why not let me show y'all what I can potentially do for y'all, not only in an NFL game, but in a 2-minute drill situation as well. So now y'all don't know what I can do out here. So you have that. And then that's just one last point about the Browns. Because God, dog, I swear this franchise, boy.
Now you good. You on fire right now. Keep it going. Keep it going.
So with the Browns, okay. So now their quarterback room is trash. They have Jerry Jeudy. They have Njoku on the offense. They drafted the kid out of Ohio State, Quishan. I can't remember his last name. I'm sorry.
Judkins, the running back.
Yes. So between Ingram, the running back, and Jeudy, okay, pretty good skill position. Okay, we got that. But we don't have a quarterback. Joe Flacco is 93, so we only going to expect so much from him. So now, guess what? The Browns is going to get another top 5, top 10 pick next year. And you
Okay.
have some good quarterbacks that potentially could be coming out next year. You have maybe potentially Manny coming out. You have Lenore Sellers from South Carolina maybe coming out. You have the LSU Newsmeyer coming out. You got the Indiana's quarterback Mendoza. So you have some good quality quarterbacks that could potentially come out. And if all of those have top 5 pick grades, you mean to tell me the Browns is going to pass on one of them because they waiting on Deshaun Watson? Hell no. They're going to take another quarterback. So then what does that do for Shedeur? Moves him on out the way. So then why the hell did we draft him to begin with? So now we're done with the Browns. Now the rest of the NFL. Okay. Second round grade. Steelers. Y'all need a quarterback. Now, I know they probably had talks of Aaron Rodgers coming in. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Why can't Shedeur sit underneath him and learn how to be a professional quarterback behind A-Rod? Y'all know he's only going to be there for 1 year anyways. So now you got a quarterback of the future that you can groom under A-Rod. So when he's gone, plug and play. Boom. He knows the offense. Put him right on in there. Another team, the trash-ass Saints. You drafted 2 trash-ass quarterbacks. Well, hell, might as well take a flyer and draft another third quarterback to see what he can potentially do for you. You don't have no quarterback at this point in time, so why not draft him? I don't know why they didn't. Bring me to the Jets. Okay, they brought in Justin Fields and signed him as a free agent in the offseason. Cool, I'm all right with that. But let's give him some competition. Throw Shedeur. Let's draft Shedeur. Let's see how well Justin Fields has progressed since he played with the Steelers the first couple of games with them. Let's see if he's really that guy. Is he good enough, or can potentially Shedeur Sanders come and beat him out, take his job as a rookie? So there were other teams that could have potentially jumped in there and got Shedeur too that needed a quarterback, but they didn't do it either. So to me, I do believe it's a conspiracy. I just don't know the rhyme or the reason.
Right. I hear you. Man, See, this is why I had Q on the show. I had stuff I wanted to say, and I ain't even got to say nothing because he said it all. This man locked it down. The only thing Imma add, though, and it's a small piece, I believe it's conspiracy as well because Eric Dickerson, and you know as well as I do, Eric Dickerson ain't the kind of person who just comes out and
Yep.
says all kinds of shit. He's not
Yep.
no Shannon Sharp. He's not no Cam Newton. He ain't nobody who's got a podcast
He
that's
ain't
gonna
no
be out
shock
here.
jock.
Yeah, he ain't gonna be saying shit for the sake of saying it. So for Eric Dickerson to come out and say some shit like that made me say there's got to be some credence to it because
Got to be.
Eric Dickerson's at home minding his own business, looking at his trophies. He ain't got to worry about this shit.
What
So
does Eric Dickerson got to gain from saying something like that?
you know what I'm saying?
Like you said, he's not on the podcast. So where if he says something like that, ooh, let me go to his podcast and see if he's saying something else. No, he ain't doing.
Yeah,
He's not on no show like that to where he's consistently on the show. So where you got to tune in there to see if he's going to give you rhyme or reason as to why he said that. So him saying this, he doesn't get anything from it other than, hey, I just want to throw this little nugget out there for you guys to think about. Here you go.
yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I definitely had to get your opinion on Shedeur, and man, I am glad I did because that is some good shit right there. That's exactly what I'm talking about right there.
Yes,
So,
sir.
so the next topic up for discussion, second to last topic before we get out of here, is the Netflix documentary on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I know you had an opportunity to watch it because we talked about it on the Beyond the Game group on Facebook, another plug. But we talked about it on there, and I finished it off the other day. I finished off all 8 episodes, and the main takeaway I got from that is Jerry motherfucking Jones, man.
Get out the
I tell
way.
you what. Now, so I had the opportunity to watch those Dallas Cowboy teams in real time. So man, when I say those teams were good and dominant, I mean they were good and dominant. But the main thing I remember and that the documentary brought out in me was that Jimmy Johnson built them teams. And Jimmy
Yes.
Johnson made those teams.
Yes.
So I remember when they went 1-15. I remember when Troy Aikman was just as bad as Peyton Manning was in his first year and couldn't win a game to save his life. I remember those days. And I remember how quickly they came to power. So Jimmy Johnson is that whole scenario, man. I just forgot all the drama that came along with it. Like I know when they showed before the game, when Fox had that game, they had the Dallas Cowboy game, and Jimmy Johnson went up to Jerry Jones before the game to shake his hand
Yes.
or whatever. I still remember that to this day. The whole world was tuned in to see what was going to happen when Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones had to meet up. And there's a reason they still got footage of that because everybody knew that if there was going to be something, but they were cordial young men. So, what was your opinion on the documentary? What's your opinion of Jerry Jones? Do you think the Cowboys will ever come to relevance again in the Jerry Jones era?
So a couple of things come to mind watching that. When I first seen it, I had not seen a trailer or anything about it. I was just scrolling on Netflix and seeing. I was like, "Oh, what is this?"
Okay.
And before I watched it, I thought it was going to be a Jerry Jones. Look at me! Look how great I am! Look what I'm doing! I have the Cowboys and I'm the owner. Little did I know they would get so personal and so deep on there.
Yeah.
And that's what shocked me is that people were being vulnerable and expressing how they really felt at these particular times. And for some of the millennials coming up who just missed that era and don't understand, they hear about the Jimmy and the Jerry Jones rift, but they really don't get it till its full context. And as for me, I was a little kid coming up at this time, but I was tuned in to the Cowboys because they were winning. And at that time, and I know we're going to sound old at this point in time, NFL games were not on every single network all day long like they are now.
Yeah.
It was either CBS at the time. Fox came along eventually, but I don't even think they were on ABC. I think that was primarily a college football station at the time. 36 was primarily college.
Yeah, all they had was Monday Night Football, and that's it.
So the Cowboys were a big draw. And of course, they were winning. And then, of course, you had the triplets, but then you had the 49ers at the same time. But we're on the East Coast, so we really didn't get a lot of West Coast games. So we really didn't get to tune into the 49ers like that at that particular time. So the only time we really seen the 49ers really were big games or playoff matches. So the East Coast of America really wasn't GM with the 49ers like that. So if you was on the East Coast, you probably were a Cowboys fan because, you know, you had the triplets and then they got Dion and shit, all hell broke loose after that. But I love the documentary because of that, of the vulnerability of Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson. That's what I love the most is that they were both vulnerable enough to say, "Hey, during this time, I messed up because I did A, B, and C." Or they actually told the truth about what bothered them about the other person. And they
Mm-hmm.
didn't sugarcoat it and dance around and give PC answers. And it was like, no, I didn't like him because he's the one who's claiming he's the one who said that we should do the Herschel Walker trade. No, I didn't like that because I thought I was the reason because I said I did the Herschel Walker trade. So it's like we arguing over a damn trade. Like
Yeah.
we complaining about who was the one to initiate the trade that set us up for all of these Super Bowls and success. That's what we complaining about.
Yeah, man.
And watching that nail, and I wonder them watching it, are they wondering the same thing? Like, damn, we was really arguing about credit over a damn trade. Like
Mm-hmm.
a trade, really?
Yeah.
Like we arguing about who was the one to initiate things. Like that just blew my mind that they were actually vulnerable enough to say, "Hey, yeah, I didn't like him because he wanted credit for this. I didn't like him because." But to me, the star of the show was Barry Switzer. I didn't know he had that type of personality.
I didn't either, man. I really didn't either.
So when they was showing clips and stuff about him, I was like, "Well, damn, I want to play for Barry Switzer too. Like he's my
Right.
type of guy. Like
He's the ultimate players coach.
I was like, man, he's my type of guy. Like, could I play for Jimmy Johnson? Hell no. But Barry Switzer, yeah, that would have been my guy. So
Yeah, I hear you.
overall, I love the documentary. I wouldn't even mind watching it again because I just thought it was so insightful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I and you probably might know this because you were a little older than me at this point in time. I always knew that the Cowboys had legal issues.
Right.
And
Right,
I
right,
did
right.
not know about how the extent of it was with Michael Irvin, where he was facing 25 years for getting caught with
Yeah.
crack and cocaine and weed with strippers. I
Yeah.
didn't know that. You know,
I I
I
I
did hear
I
rumors
honestly
about the White House, but
yeah.
I was surprised that they went there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like they really went deep with all of this to show, hey, this is how the Cowboys got their own back in the day.
Yeah,
And then,
yeah.
so I was really interested in how in depth they got at everything within it. And then I didn't know about the Michael Irvin slicing the dude in the neck with some scissors. I never
It's
heard about that
crazy.
story.
They swept that one under the rug real quick, and I see
You
why
see
they
what I'm
had to
saying?
keep it on probation, but I was like, "Man, I don't." Like, I vaguely remember the charges that he got brought up and the death threat against him. I vaguely remember that. The scissors incident, don't know nothing about that at all. That was all brand new to me.
Yeah,
So
so
that
a
one
lot
kinda
of that
that one
stuff, I'm
kinda
like,
shocked me.
wow. I'm like, wow. And then, Emmett talked about how he didn't want to leave, but he knew him and Jerry said, it's done. Like they had to part
Yeah,
ways because Emmett was no longer producing. Jerry couldn't pay for a running back that was no longer producing. And Emmett talked about how he came back as a Cardinal and how he sat in his locker and he just cried. Like
yeah,
these dudes were really open and vulnerable about their times as the Dallas Cowboys. And to me, that was when you're an athlete at that profession, I'm strong, macho. I ain't showing nobody no softness, no nothing, no. But these dudes is like, yeah, doc, this bothered me. That bothered me. So it
yeah,
ached me. I didn't know about the alleged
yeah,
racist stuff. Like,
yeah,
there was a rumor that they thought he was racist, and the Cowboy players was like, nah, he's not racist. But there was that stigma that they thought. Well, the media thought Troy Aikman might have been racist, and I'm like, damn, I ain't know none of this shit. Like, this is
yeah, man.
crazy to me.
Yeah, I definitely didn't know about the Troy Aikman racist allegations either. I didn't. That one was new to me as well. So it was like you said, it was good to take a look inside. And I can't help but think that if it weren't for Jimmy and Jerry Jones having their beef and their issues and being the real main reason why the Cowboys never ascended to the heights that they had, if it weren't for them two, I bet Michael Irvin would get a whole lot of blame for the Cowboys not being that good because of all his legal issues. Because
Yes.
once them legal issues came, that was a wrap for the Cowboys. But that's going to get, I hate to say, swept under the rug, but nobody's going to think about that because all we're going to remember is that Jimmy and Jerry acted like two little high school kids who were fighting over dumb shit. And that's really the reason why the Cowboys never really ascended to where they were.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this Jerry Jones, I've never been a Jerry Jones fan. And this documentary actually made me like Jerry Jones
Yeah. Just a little bit. I agree.
a little bit, because I understand his mindset. I understand what he's trying to do. And granted, he wants to win that Super Bowl. But the Cowboys, he paid 100. What'd he say? How much he paid for them? 150 million or something
I was
like
gonna
that.
say 150 million. Yeah.
The Cowboys are worth $12.8 billion
Boy, talk
now.
about a return on investment.
You know what I'm saying? So while the Cowboys ain't winning like they used to, they are the most valuable sports team in the world right now. And I don't know, regardless of how you feel about Jerry Jones, you can't shit on that man because how many teams do we see not have success winning, but they ain't worth shit. You know, the
Yep.
Patriots, before the Patriots won Super Bowls, they weren't worth shit. You could have bought the Patriots for $5 back in the day. Now, Tom Brady comes along, and now the Patriots are worth $12 billion as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's amazing that Jerry Jones has been able to accumulate this kind of value for the Cowboys without producing on the field. And that goes a lot to Jerry Jones being a next level businessman and just the things that he did, the things
Forward
that they showed
thinking.
he did, man. He elevated the NFL, whether they want to admit it or not. He elevated the NFL to another level that they were at.
Yes.
They might not be on Fox if it weren't for Jerry Jones. So I can't front on Jerry Jones in that aspect. Is he a shit owner? Maybe for the sports part of it, and maybe he shouldn't. I told a buddy of mine, we were talking about it, and I said, Jerry Jones strikes me as the type of person who wants to be the president and the GM for control, but at the same time, he knows if I got a president and a GM, I got to pay both them motherfuckers at least $1 million or $2 million each year. And I'm thinking Jerry Jones is the type of person. He's like, man, why I'm gonna pay somebody to do something I know I can do?
Yep.
I can't front on that mindset. You know what I'm saying? Now, after a while, he might need to say, okay, maybe I need to hand over something to somebody,
He
do
can't.
something a little different. But if you're Jerry, why would you pay for that if you got it and your franchise is still worth $12.8 billion, whether you win or lose? So
So two things that just reminded me of that what you just said. I don't know if you remember when Jerry Jones very first bought the Cowboys and he had a press conference. I can't remember who the Dallas GM was at the time, but Jerry said at the press conference, "I want his job."
yeah,
I could
yeah,
talk about the GM. He said, "I
Tex,
want his job." A couple of days later, his ass was fired.
oh yeah, Tex Schramm, I think is who it
Text,
was.
yes, thank you, Text Shrimp.
Yeah,
And then the business part. Jerry Jones said, "Look, we got this revenue sharing. This shit ain't cutting it for me. I'm not cool with getting this little 5-10 million. No. We the Cowboys. Come here, Nike. Come here, Pepsi. Let me
yeah,
talk to you for a second. Give us some extra coin. Y'all can broadcast and advertise them inside of my state." So Jerry Jones showed the NFL, look, this is how you get this money. Like, damn all the other stuff. Like, we owners, we got to be owners because we were good at making money.
mm-hmm.
Now we're owners and we're just making nickels and dimes. Well, I could go back to the oil business for all this shit here. Let me show y'all how to make some real money out here. So
Right,
he started pushing the NFL. And like he said, whether the NFL wants to admit it or not, a large part of the NFL marketing comes from Jerry Jones. And I don't know if they give him credit for that or not, but as an owner, Jerry Jones might be the GOAT owner as far as ownership.
right. I hear
GOAT
you.
owner, trash ass GM, but as far as ownership of the team, he might be on GOAT status.
Yeah, I don't think I can argue with that. I don't think I can argue with that at all because he's proven the proof is in the pudding.
Proof
And
is in the pudding.
it's like you say, man, the Cowboys, $12.8 billion, man.
And they
That's
won since what, 95 was the last championship?
yeah, that's the last Super Bowl.
Last Super Bowl was 95, and somehow the revenue and the team franchise a value of the team has risen every year, and yet the wins going like this. And
Yeah, yeah. No other
Jerry, you
team
a
can do
bad
that.
when it comes to negotiating money as far as ownership. You a
Yeah,
bad man.
yeah,
As it pertains to negotiating contracts as a GM, you still a bad man, but in a different way.
right. Yeah, yeah. All right. So the last topic, I had this conversation with somebody, and I was like, "Ooh, that'll be a great topic for the show." So, how do you view your legends from the NBA and the NFL? Do you place more value on a particular sport, or is it the same? And I say that meaning in football, Jerry Rice is considered, the greatest receiver ever, and hardly anybody's going to argue that. When you look at basketball, and you got LeBron James, you got Michael Jordan, and you can't get folks to agree on that. So when you look at what Jerry did to attain his GOAT status, which is stats and wins, why do we look at Jerry and say one thing, and then when we look at LeBron and Michael Jordan, we say something completely different. Because to me, I feel like the conversations are a little hypocritical, so to
Mm,
say.
okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Um,
Because in that aspect, and you know me well enough to know, I don't think LeBron is the greatest basketball player of all time, but I won't argue against it because there is a great argument to be made
they,
for LeBron being the greatest basketball player of all
as
time.
well, and as much as I don't want to say it, there could also be an argument that Ladarius might think otherwise. But for that guy that's on your wall back there, like if you want to throw him in the mix, you can make a case for all three guys. Every guy, not those three guys have legit cases. It's
Mhm.
just depending on what fan base you fall into, where you got them at, and
Alright.
depending on what fan base you at, determines who you got 2 and 3 as well. LeBron fans might have Kobe 2 and Jordan 3 just to be a smart ass. Same thing for Jordan fans. They might have Jordan 1, Kobe 2, and LeBron 3 just to be a smart ass. So that also falls in where your fandom is at. But to me, I place more, I guess, credence to NFL Super Bowl titles.
Okay.
And here's why. Because it literally takes a 53-man roster of everybody doing their damn job correctly to win a
Mhm.
Super Bowl. And with the NFL, depending on what era, 80s, 90s, 2000, the games as far as the schedule changes. So you only have this many amount of games to make shit work. You don't have a whole month of December of let's try to figure this out because we still got January, February, March to figure. No, 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 no. You got, was it 4 months? You got a little bit of August, September, October, November, December. You got 4 months, 4, 8, 12, 6. You got 16 damn weeks to figure this out. So every game means so much more. And so for me, as we talk about GOAT status with the NFL, it's harder for me to, even though I think I place a higher value on NFL rings than NBA rings first and foremost.
I
But
got you.
but as far as GOATs, it's hard for me to say Jerry. But here's why. Not because Jerry's not great for the people who's watching. I know, well, Jerry, I think it's hard because I think people see the wide receiver position as a dependable position.
Okay.
And so it's hard for somebody to say, well, yeah, you wouldn't have been that great if your quarterback wasn't getting you the ball. Or you what like, yeah, you can run the greatest, crispest, clean fucking route. But if the quarterback don't see you, what the hell did you just do?
Right.
And so I think the reason why people give more GOAT status to a Mahomes or a Montana or even a LT or even a Walter Payton is because they feel like they had the ball more and weren't as dependent on somebody else helping them do their job. Although running back, you need your offensive line, so I get that. But
Mhm.
they weren't totally dependent on something happening to where it affects my success. To where as a wide receiver, my success is kind of predicated on who's throwing me the ball.
Right.
Jerry Rice, fortunate, had 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks throwing him the ball.
Yes, he
So
did.
he was in a great situation. Would Jerry Rice still produce at a level that he produced if he had Brian Hoyer throwing him the football?
Mm. It's a fair question.
And I say that to go back to another point. D Hop. D Hop wasted his prime years down in Texas with the Texans, and he had me and you throwing him the ball.
Yes, correct,
But
correct.
yet he still was racking up 1,000-yard receiving seasons and double-digit touchdowns. But why didn't that translate to team success?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's not that I don't think Jerry Rice is great because Jerry Rice is on the Mount Rushmore of football. But
Mhm.
as far as GOAT, I don't know if I can put him there just solely because of I feel like the wide receiver is so dependent on somebody else helping them achieve their status of whatever it is they're trying to do. If that makes sense to you.
Oh, yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Okay.
And truthfully, I've always been a big Randy Moss guy. I've always thought that Randy Moss was more talented and a better wide receiver than Jerry Rice.
Okay.
And a lot of what you said was the arguments that I would use back when I would have these debates with my friends about who the best receiver was, Randy Moss or Jerry Rice. And I would always say, Jerry Rice had Joe Montana. Jerry Rice had Steve Young. When Jerry Rice left the 49ers and went to the Raiders, he had Rich Gannon. And they went to the Super Bowl too. So Rich Gannon wasn't no punk either.
And
Randy
if I'm
Moss,
not mistaken, I think Rich Gannon won an MVP.
so I want to say you're right. So Jerry Rice has always had, when he's putting up these big numbers, he's always had quarterbacks that were not just above average. We're talking about elite quarterbacks,
Yes.
and he was on elite teams. So
Yes.
putting up those numbers that he put up was easier to do than it was for somebody like Randy Moss, who had Randall Cunningham in his last couple years as a quarterback, who had Dante Culpepper. And I'm not going to sit here and shit on Dante Culpepper. Dante Culpepper was a good quarterback, but he wasn't no Joe Montana.
He
He
ain't no
wasn't no
Sticky
Jerry
Young.
Rice. And as far as Randy Moss, when Randy Moss got to play with Tom Brady, that man set a record for touchdowns. You know what I'm
Come on,
saying?
man.
Tom Brady set a record for throwing yards.
They
Yeah, I
went
mean,
undefeated into the
yeah,
last game.
the last game. So I'm always going to be a Randy Moss. I call myself the Randy Moss truther because I always felt like Randy Moss was better than Jerry Rice. And a lot of the things you said is a lot of the reason why I had that. Now, for all the folks out there watching, I'm not going to sit here and argue against Jerry Rice being the GOAT. I even released a clip today on my other podcast where I mentioned, hey, look, Jerry Rice is better than Randy Moss. I'll go and take it to the head, whatever. But at the end of the day, I said I would always take Randy Moss over Jerry Rice. And it just so happened to piss off a couple folks on TikTok about it. And they were like, oh, yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense to take the second best guy instead of the best guy. Look, I think Randy's the best guy. All I'm saying is I'm not going to argue if you say Jerry Rice is better because Jerry Rice has the resume. Jerry Rice has the rings. He's got the accolades. He's got all that stuff. And it's just hard to prove that Randy Moss was a better wide receiver than Jerry Rice. But at the same time, I'm gonna argue that he was simply because he didn't have Joe Montana. He didn't have Steve Young. He didn't have Rich Gannon. And when he had Tom Brady, man went to a whole
Magic.
nother level.
Magic.
So
And I hate doing that too, Jason. I hate doing the hypothetical. What if Randy Moss had Tom Brady? But we seen for that short window with a great quarterback what Randy Moss could accomplish. And not and to piggyback off of that, we seen what he can do with a great Randall Cunningham. And Randall Cunningham was in the twilight of his career at that point in time. He had actually redefined his game and came back as a different quarterback than when he left. So because when he came to the Vikings, people kind of didn't know what to expect from Randall Cunningham. And here this dude is, he's letting it go 60, 70 yards. Everybody already knew he had a cannon. Like that was, everybody knew that part already.
oh yeah, he did.
But when he came to the Vikings, you had the possession receiver in Chris Carter. And then you had the deep threat in Randy Moss. And then you had the intermediate with Jake Reed. I don't know if people remember Jake Reed being on that team.
Yeah.
And then you had Mr. Robert Smith in the backfield turning it up. So they
That
had
man
a complete offense. And you seen what Randy Moss could do in a complete offense. Now, Randy Cunningham goes away. Chris Carter retires. Robert Smith retires early. I think Jake Smith, I think he came to play with us. I mean, Jake Reed came to play with us for a little bit.
Okay.
Vikings was trash. All it was is Dante Culpepper and Randy Moss. We seen what happened. Got traded to the Raiders. He didn't care. Then Raiders traded him over to the Patriots. Boom, revitalized his career, and we seen what he can do. Also, one other quick thing to your Randy Moss point. When Randy Moss has a very good number two, you can't roll your damn coverage to Randy Moss all the damn time. When the 49ers had Dwight Clark, John Taylor, you can't double nobody. So everybody had to be singled up. And then you had the running back. Oh, it slips my mind.
Roger Craig.
Roger Craig, thank you. And even I think Roger Craig was the first running back to have 1,000 receiving yards and 1,000 running back yards in the same season. So you had him to worry about. So you had John Taylor, you had Jerry Rice, you had Dwight Clark, and then you had Roger Craig coming out the backfield. So you couldn't double nobody. So of course Jerry Rice did what he's supposed to do. He ate up. And so goes back to my point about Randy Moss. When Randy Moss has had a formidable number two to take some of that pressure away, Randy Moss ate. Whether it was Wes Welker underneath running those routes. I forgot the other wide receiver at the time. Deion Branch may have been there. I'm not really totally for sure about that. But anyways, the point is that when he was with the Patriots, they had other weapons, so teams couldn't just roll the coverage over to Randy Moss because you had all it, and not to mention they had Rob Gronkowski and the Killer on the team at the same time too, so you had to account for both of them. So
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't double Randy Moss the entire game, which opened it up for Randy. So I'm right there with you on your Randy Moss point, man.
Right, right. All right. All right. Well, folks, that is all we got today on the season 3 premiere of Jason's Jewels. Uh, we have my guy nephew Q in here as we broke it down on the NFL and what we expect to see this season. Hey, I hope y'all tune in. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Ooh,
Hey, Q, real quick. Hey, what you got?
before we go, I've got to get you on wax. Super
Okay.
Bowl Super Bowl prediction. Who you
Okay.
not necessarily who's gonna win it, just two teams who you think will be in the Super Bowl this season.
2 teams I think will be in the Super Bowl this season. All right. I'm going to go shit. Man, well, one's easy. I'm gonna go Baltimore. I'm
Okay.
gonna go Baltimore because I got Baltimore winning this year. I think Lamar gets his ring. I think he
Okay.
changes his jersey number. I honestly believe, as good as he was last year, I think he's gonna be even better this year. And I hope that nobody I'm playing fantasy football with is watching this episode because I want to make sure I get that motherfucker on my team this year. I don't want none of y'all sons of bitches drafting him in round 1 or reaching for him too early. Don't do none of that shit. Lamar is coming to my team this year, straight up. But anyway, I got Baltimore in there, and man, man, it's tough. I would love. I know I mentioned earlier. I would love to see the Baltimore and Buccaneers play. I know you said no, you don't want to see that shit, but I would love to see that. I really, really think, man, the first team that pops in my mind is the Commanders. Man, it's the Commanders. That would be one of the more exciting Super Bowls to watch. Baltimore versus Washington in the Super Bowl. I mean, the Beltway, the battle of the Beltway. I don't think we could ask for a better game myself, but that's where I'm at. That's what I'm going with right now. I'm going with Baltimore and Washington. That's who I got on
You
wax.
you know what that also could be poised as? The
What's
game of
that?
the present versus the game of the future. Jaden
Yeah,
Daniels is the
man.
future, Lamar Jackson is the present. So
Yeah,
you can look at it
yeah,
that way too. You can look at it that way because both of their games are kind of similar. I think Jaden's a little bit better passer at this early in career than Lamar Jackson is, but at the same
yeah,
time,
yeah,
the
yeah,
games are kind of similar in style. So game of the present versus the game of the future.
yeah. I'm here for it. So who you got before we go? Who you got in the Super Bowl before we go?
I'm with you. I'm gonna say Lamar. But my reason for Lamar is totally different from yours. My reason for Lamar is not even a football related reason for it. It's just
Huh?
that I want to see the fucking chaos come when Lamar Jackson wins a Super Bowl, and everybody who has had something to say about Lamar Jackson has to find a reason to give this man props. Or I can't wait to see the excuses and the reasons why they won't give him the credit as to why he
Yeah,
won the Super Bowl. So I want the Ravens to win because I know it's going to be so much damn chaos that comes with. Oh,
yeah, shit.
he only won because he got Derrick Henry and Mark Edwards and Zay Flowers.
Yeah,
He only won because that's why that's personal for me. It's personal. So I would like to see the Ravens win it, and I would like to see them in the Super Bowl. If I had to pick another team from the, if I had to pick a team from the NFC, obviously, oh man, it's so wide open.
it is.
Oh, it would probably have to be between. I would have to put the Eagles up there. I do because
Yeah.
they know what it takes to get back. They have a lot of talent.
And Jalen
Everything.
Hurts locked in. That man
That's
locked
why I
in.
said like I. But as you know, teams rarely go back to back Super Bowls. You
It's
know,
hard.
Chiefs done it, Cowboys done it, Buffalo Bills have done it, Patriots have done it. Like there's only a handful of teams that literally go back to back Super Bowls, so it's kind of hard. But at this point in time, because the NFC is so wide open, and the other teams outside of the Eagles have some question marks. Give me Baltimore and the Eagles. Give me Baltimore and the
Mm.
Eagles. Yeah,
All
I'm gonna
right.
just
All
go
right.
Baltimore and the Eagles. Yeah.
All right. Hey, so y'all heard it, folks. I got Baltimore and Washington. Q's got Baltimore and the Eagles. We shall see what happens, what takes place. I believe we both got Baltimore winning that bad boy. So
Yes.
we shall see what happens, folks. But once again, before we bounce again, check out my guy, Nephew Q, Beyond the Game group on Facebook. By all means, if you love sports, come on in. We will definitely have you. We will take good care of you and your opinions. Believe that. But yes, thank y'all for tuning in. This is Jason's Jules, week 1, season 3 episode, season 3 premiere. Signing off. Peace.